Human history remembers many things. Empires, kings, wars. But buried in the oldest traditions of humanity lies a darker memory. A memory of worlds that ended. Civilizations across the ancient world tell the same story. A time when humanity became corrupt and a great catastrophe swept across the earth. The Hebrew scriptures record this story in the opening chapters of Book of Genesis. But to understand the flood of Noah, we must begin even earlier. Before Noah, before Abraham, before the rise of nations. We must begin at the dawn of creation itself. Genesis 1:1 declares, "In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth." But the next verse introduces a profound mystery. Genesis 1:2 says, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." The Hebrew phrase used here, tohu vabah, means waste, ruin, desolation. This has led many theologians to ask a startling question. Did something happen between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2? Some biblical interpreters believe that the earth described in verse 2 may reflect the aftermath of an ancient judgment. This interpretation gains attention when we read the vision of the prophet recorded in book of Jeremiah 4:23-26, which describes the earth saying, "I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and there was no man." The imagery echoes Genesis, a ruined world. Cities destroyed, a land returned to chaos, whether symbolic or literal. These passages remind us that the biblical worldview understands history as a cycle: creation, corruption, judgment, restoration. After the creation of humanity in Genesis 1:27, the earth began to fill with people. Generations passed. Cities rose. Culture developed. But moral corruption also grew. Genesis chapter 6 records the moment when human civilization reached a breaking point. Genesis 6:5 states, "The wickedness of man was great in the earth, and every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." This is one of the most devastating descriptions of human society in the Bible. Not only were actions evil, even human imagination itself had become corrupted. Genesis 6:11 adds, "The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence." The Hebrew word for violence here is hamas, meaning injustice, oppression, and brutality. The world had become a place where power ruled over morality. Genesis introduces one of the most mysterious passages in Scripture. Genesis 6:2 says, "The sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives." Who were these sons of God? Ancient Jewish writings, such as the Book of Enoch, interpret them as fallen heavenly beings called watchers. These texts describe celestial beings descending to earth and corrupting humanity. Other theologians interpret the passage differently. They argue that the sons of God represent the descendants of the righteous line of Seth intermarrying with the corrupt line of Cain. Whatever the interpretation, the text reveals a deeper truth. Human civilization had crossed moral boundaries. Genesis 4 introduces another mysterious group. There were giants in the earth in those days. These figures are called Nephilim. Stories of giant heroes appear across many ancient cultures. The Mesopotamian epic, known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, tells of a great flood that destroyed an earlier world. Egyptian funerary writings, such as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, also refer to ancient ages when divine beings interacted with humanity. These parallels suggest that the memory of a primeval catastrophe may have spread across multiple civilizations. Genesis 6:6 reveals something profound about the heart of God. "It repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart." The Creator was not indifferent. Human violence brought divine sorrow, and so a decision was made. Genesis 6:7, "I will destroy man whom I have created." Yet the story does not end in judgment, because in the midst of corruption, one man remained faithful. Genesis 6:8, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." Genesis describes Noah as just, blameless in his generation, a man who walked with God. Centuries later, the New Testament would remember this faith. In Epistle to the Hebrews 11:7, it says, "By faith, Noah prepared an ark for the saving of his house. Only 8 people would survive the flood: Noah, his wife, his sons, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and their wives. The canonical Bible does not name the wives of Noah or his sons. Ancient Jewish traditions, however, preserved possible names. Some sources call Noah's wife Naamah. Others record names such as Im. These traditions appear in texts like the Book of Jubilees. Their absence in the Bible reflects the focus of Scripture. The Bible prioritizes the theological story rather than exhaustive genealogies. God gave Noah precise instructions. Genesis 6:14. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Dimensions: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high. This structure would be about 135 meters long, a massive vessel designed not for sailing, but for survival. Noah was 600 years old when the flood began. Many scholars estimate the ark may have taken 50 to 70 years to build. During this time, Noah warned his generation, but they ignored him. Genesis 7:11 records, "The moment the world changed, the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. 2 sources of water appear. Rain from above, subterranean waters from below. The rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights. The waters rose for 150 days. Mountains disappeared beneath the flood. Every living thing outside the ark perished." The flood narrative continues into Genesis 8. After months on the waters, the ark finally rested upon the mountains of Ararat. Noah released a raven, thin, Adov. Finally, the dove returned with an olive leaf. Life was returning to the earth. After leaving the ark, Noah built an altar. Genesis 8:21 records God's declaration, "I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake." Human nature remained flawed, but divine mercy prevailed. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ spoke about the story of Noah. In Gospel of Matthew 24:37, he said, "As the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." People were living normal lives, eating, drinking, marrying, until the flood came. Then Jesus gave a mysterious warning. Matthew 24:40. 2 men shall be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. The message is profound. Judgment often arrives when people least expect it. The story of Noah is not merely ancient history. It is a mirror. It asks every generation the same question. Will humanity repeat the mistakes of the past? Will we ignore the warnings? Or will we listen? Because if the words of Jesus are true, then the final chapter of human history may begin exactly the same way the flood did. Quietly, unexpectedly, in days that look perfectly normal, just like the days of Noah.